Morning and Jai Hind children. I welcome you all in today's live class of biology. Children, as you know that we are discussing the chapter transportation of materials in plants and animals. Okay, so before starting today's topic, I am going to demonstrate activity 5. Okay, this activity you need to write in your activity notebook, children. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate this activity, so please go through this carefully. So children, today I am going to demonstrate you the activity of biology. According to the syllabus of your biology, this is the activity number 5. The aim or objective of this activity is to show that xylem conducts water in plants. Children, remember that you have studied in the chapter there are two kind of tissues present in the plant which are responsible for the transportation of materials, and these tissues are xylem and second phloem. Xylem tissues are responsible for transportation of water and dissolved minerals, and the phloem tissues are responsible for the transportation of food materials in the plant's body. So with the help of this activity, I will demonstrate you that water transported, moved from roots to all parts of the plant with the help of xylem tissue. This tissue is present in the center of plant, that branches and stems, their center have the xylem tissue. For this activity, we require a soft twig of a plant. So here I have a soft twig of a plant. We require a beaker with water and some red color dissolved in it. So I have taken here a beaker with water and red color I have added here. So the water looks red in color. Children, please note that here I have taken the red color water just to indicate you clearly when the water will move, transport, so it will seem clearly because it looks red in color. So that is why here I have added the red color in the water. Now we will put our this soft twig in this colored water and put it for some time, about half an hour. So during this time, the water get transported through the xylem tissues which are present in the plant, and along with that water, that red color also get transported, also get moved up. Now take back this twig we have kept in the colored water. With the help of the blade, we will cut the fine slides of it. So here I have a glass slide, and we will put it here and cut the fine slides with the help of this cutter. Now here I have a small piece of fine slide of this branch of plant. We'll take a dropper and put a drop of water in this slide, and after that we will sift it under the microscope to watch that the center of this branch is red in color. So this is the microscope as you've seen it many times in your lab. Now I'm going to place this slide under it. Adjust your lenses. Yes. Now children, the slide give the clear structure of the xylem tissues in the plant, and it looks somewhat like that. This is the outer surface of the branch. Inside that, a band-like structure is present, that is phloem tissues. And in the center of this area is the xylem tissue, and this looks red in color under this microscope. So this kind of structure is going to observe here under the microscope. The center part of this slide is reddish in color because it is made up of xylem tissues, and the xylem tissues have taken out the water and along with that this red color, and that is why it seems reddish in color. So children, simply about this activity is going to explain, is going to show that the xylem tissues in the plant are responsible for conduction of water, and the substances which are dissolved in water like dissolved minerals, dissolved salts and all, they also get transported, they also get conducted with the help of same xylem tissue.
So children, I hope that you understood the oral questions 1. Okay children, which is given in your book on page number 133. The question number 1 is there. In plants, the same set of pipe like vessels transported water, minerals, salts and food. Do you agree? Give reason. So what you can say children? No, that xylem, which is a set of pipe like vessel, and it transports only water and minerals. Okay, it does not transport the food. So it transports water, minerals, salts, whereas another set of tube is present in the plants, that is phloem, and that phloem transports food. Okay, so there are two sets of pipe which transports water, minerals, and second transports food. Understood? Now, the question number 2 is there. In osmosis, water molecules pass through a semi-permeable membrane. So what is a semi-permeable membrane and what determines the direction of passage of water through such a membrane? So children, here you have to define the semi-permeable membrane, and also you have to explain about the direction of movement of water through this membrane. So children, very simple, a semi-permeable membrane is a kind of membrane, okay, that will allow certain molecules or ions to pass through it by diffusion process. Understood? By which process? By the diffusion process. The molecules or ions can pass through it. So through such a membrane, the passage of water takes place from the region of more concentration to the region of less concentration. Understood children? How it gets passed? The water passed through from more concentration to less concentration. Get it? So the semi-permeable membrane is a membrane that allow only certain molecules or ions through it. By which process? Yes, by diffusion process. And this movement occurs how? It occurs from higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay children? Now the question number 3 is, transpiration allows plants to lose excess water. It also has two other functions. What are these? Children, we have explained about the process of transpiration. The main function of transpiration is to lose the excess water from the plant body. Except it have some more function. So what are these more function? So the next function is it creates a suction pull. Yes, which pulls water up the plant from the roots, and the next function is it also helps to cool the plants. Okay children, so these are the two other function of the transpiration. It creates suction pull and also cools the plant. Now the question number 4, under what condition will the leaves of a plant wilt? Children, remember that in previous class I have explained you about the wilting. So what are the condition in which these leaves of plant get wilt? So if water is lost more quickly through transpiration, then it is absorbed by the root hairs. So the leaves of a plant will wilt. Okay, if there is more difference in process of absorption of water and removal of that water by transpiration, so the leaves will get wilt. Understood children? So these are the oral questions and you need to write these answers in your notebook also. Okay children? Now come to the next topic of the chapter. Children, this one is the first part of the chapter in which we have explained the transportation of material in plants, and now in the second part of the chapter we will discuss the transportation of materials in animals. Okay, so now I am going to start the transportation of materials in animals. Okay children, so the transportation of nutrients in unicellular organism such as amoeba, paramecium, bacteria, etc. is very simple. As already we have discussed that in unicellular organism almost all the life processes are very simple. So this transportation is also very simple. The nutrients reach every part of cell by diffusion process because their body is made up of single cell. Okay, so the overall cell gets nutrient just because of the process of diffusion. Okay, in simple aquatic multicellular organisms such as hydra and jellyfish, the oxygen and nutrients are transported by water that circulates through their bodies. Okay, if we discuss about the multicellular organism which are aquatic like hydra and jellyfish, so in these organism, the oxygen and the nutrients, they both are get transported by water that circulates through their bodies. Okay, so the transportation process takes place in this way in simple organism. Understood children? Now we will discuss in detail about the transportation of materials in humans. Okay, so come to the transportation in humans. Transportation in humans. Children, the process of diffusion is too slow to work in higher animals like us, okay, including human beings also. In such animals as well, developed pick up and delivery system. Okay, so that developed animal like human beings and other animals, they have developed a kind of system in their body, okay, and that system is delivery system and is known as circulatory system, and this delivery system of the substances within the body is known as circulatory system. So this circulatory system is present in developed animals like human beings. In the circulatory system, the blood delivers food and oxygen to every cell in the body. Okay, how that materials like oxygen and food get delivered or transported? With the help of blood. And it also carries the waste materials away from every cell in the body. So all kind of substances, the substances which are necessary for our body and the substances which are waste, they all are going to transported, going to moved through circulatory system in our body. Okay children, so we will discuss the circulatory system in detail. So the circulatory system in humans, it consists of the blood vessels and the heart. Okay, so these are the three main parts of circulatory system. The first part of circulatory system is the blood. Okay children, what is blood? So simply the blood is a specialized bodily fluid that flows in blood vessels. Okay, it is a liquid or fluid, you can say that, and this is going to flow where? In blood vessel, the tube like structure present in our body, in all parts of body. Okay, and in this tube, in this vessel, the blood is going to flow, and that is why it is known as blood vessel. And it transports the different materials, like it transports the digested food from the small intestine to all parts of the body. Okay, second, it transports the oxygen from the lungs to the body cells and carbon dioxide from the cells to the lungs. Okay children, and the third, it transports the liquid waste from the body cells to the kidneys for removal from the body. Okay, so these all materials are going to transport with the help of blood. Okay, in an average healthy adult, the volume of blood is about 1/11th of the body weight. Children must remember it. The total volume of the blood which is present in our body is average as 1/11th part of our total body weight. Okay, and normally the volume of blood is an average human adult is between 4 to 5 liters. So the average amount of blood which is present in an adult human, it is about 4 to 5 liters. Okay, and the blood consists of a fluid which is known as plasma, in which three types of blood cells float. Okay children, so our blood contains what? It contains a fluid part which is known as plasma, and in this fluid part, in this plasma, the different kind of blood cells are present. Get it? So you can say that the blood is composed of these two parts, plasma and blood cells, and these blood cells are of three types. The first one is red blood cells, which is also known as RBCs. Second one is white blood cells. WBC, and the third one is platelets. Okay children, so these are the three kind of blood cells are found in our blood. Okay, so come to the first, red blood cells. They are the disc shaped cells. Disc shaped means they are oval in shape. The cells are disc like. Okay, and they contain a red colored protein which is termed as hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is a kind of protein which is found in which cell? Red blood cells. Okay, and it is this pigment that absorbs oxygen and transport it to the cells all over the body. So the hemoglobin which is present in red blood cells, they are responsible for transportation of oxygen to all parts of body because they have capacity to absorb oxygen, and the oxygen combines with hemoglobin to form a compound which is known as oxyhemoglobin. Okay children, oxygen and hemoglobin, they both get combined together and forms oxyhemoglobin. oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin moves to all the cells of our body. Okay, so when the blood reaches cells that need oxygen, and this oxyhemoglobin again gets break there in the cells, they breaks into oxygen and hemoglobin. Okay, this oxygen is used up by the cells for respiration, and hemoglobin again becomes free to carry more oxygen. Again it comes back to the lungs and carry the oxygen. So this is the continuous process which is going on continuously. Hemoglobin combines with oxygen in the lungs, carry them to all the cells. In the cells the oxygen get used up for respiration, and again hemoglobin comes back in the lungs again to carry the oxygen. Okay children, now come to the next, white blood cells, WBCs. They are slightly larger than the red blood cells. Okay, and they do not have a fixed shape, they are irregular in shape. They are fewer in number than red blood cells. Okay, the number of red blood cells are greater than white blood cells, and their main job is to fight against diseases by destroying harmful bacteria and other foreign materials. So children, you must have to remember the main function of WBC is to fight against, yes, diseases by destroying those bacteria and other harmful materials, and they are able to move on their own, and this helps them to pass through the walls of blood vessels and to reach infected parts of the body. Okay, so this is the property of the WBC, that they can move by itself to that part of the body where they are required, okay, or where any disease causing germ is present. So they can move toward that side. Okay children, now the third kind of blood cells are platelets. They are smaller than red blood cells, and they help the blood to clot whenever there is a wound on the body. This is the main function of platelets, children. You must have to remember it. Okay, that platelet cells are responsible for clotting of the blood. At which time? At the time of wound on our body. So this blocks the flow of blood and prevents the blood loss. Understood children? Okay, now so the blood is the one of the important part of circulatory system, which is composed from plasma and blood cells. Okay, now the second part of circulatory system is the blood vessels. Okay children, the blood vessels. The blood vessels are the narrow tubes through which the blood is flowing. So this blood circulates across the body through a network of tubes, which is called blood vessels. Okay, and there are three types of blood vessels found in our body, and these three types of blood vessels are arteries, second one is veins, and the third one is capillaries. Okay children, so these are the three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. So come one by one. The first one is the arteries. They carry the oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood means oxygen rich blood. Okay, remember that the hemoglobin carry the oxygen rich blood from lungs to, yes, all parts of the body, so that they are carries through the arteries. Okay, so the heart, from the heart, the pure blood or the oxygen rich blood is get circulated to all parts of the body by the arteries. Okay children, now as the heart pumps blood into the arteries, the blood flows rapidly and at a high pressure. Okay, this time the pressure in the blood is more, that is why they can circulate it to all parts of the body. So the arteries therefore have thick elastic walls just to bear the high pressure. Their walls are thick and elastic. And to feel the blood rushing through the arteries, how we can feel? Yes, place your two fingers in the hollow spot of your wrist. This is the hollow spot on your wrist. So put two fingers in this part and feel the blood rushing through the arteries. Okay children? So while placing your fingers in hollow spot of wrist, you can feel it. The throbbing sensation or pulse that you can feel is actually blood rushing through the arteries. So you can feel here the throbbing sensation. Why this sensation is found there? This is because of the rushing of the blood through the arteries. Okay children? Now, these arteries branches into smaller and smaller arteries and finally into capillaries. So the arteries, which are the tube-like structures, these arteries again get divided into many thin tubes. And these thin tubes are known as capillaries. Okay children, and these capillaries are the thinnest blood vessels. Okay, about as thick as a strand of your hair. So you can imagine that how thin they are. So they have very thin walls through which oxygen, digested food and carbon dioxide and all other waste products are exchanged between the blood and the surrounding cells. So as their walls are very thin, so the materials can exchange. It may be oxygen, it may be carbon dioxide, it may be digested food, it may be other waste material. Okay children? And the capillaries again join up to form the veins. So these all capillaries again joins to forms the veins. Okay children, so arteries get divided into capillaries and capillaries again get joined to forms the vein, and these veins carry deoxygenated blood. Children, oxygenated blood means oxygen rich blood and deoxygenated blood means that carbon dioxide rich blood is known as deoxygenated blood. So veins carry that deoxygenated blood back to the heart, and these veins have thin walls because here the pressure is not more. That is why they have thin walls, and they have valves. Children, you must remember that the veins have valves. Valves are the structure present inside the veins which prevents the backflow of the backflow of blood. So that veins have the valves. As the veins carry deoxygenated blood or carbon dioxide rich blood, so it needs to stop the backflow, and this is why the veins have the valves in it. Okay, so they have the valves which allow the blood to flow only towards the heart, not back from the heart. Okay children, got it? So that blood vessels are of three kinds. The first one is arteries, second one is veins, and third one is capillaries. Okay children, so I hope that you understood these topics which we have explained today. Thank you and have a nice day children.